Hi everyone, I'm Keely and I've been asked by Jessica Thompson quite a few weeks ago now to do a video on what my life is like living with POTS syndrome. Basically, I'll try and keep it as brief as I possibly can, and I'll tell you a bit about my symptoms and how I got my diagnosis and things like that. I was only diagnosed in January of this year, 2013, after being really poorly for about 5-6 years. My main symptoms were a fast heart rate. It would feel as though my heart was going to pound out of my chest. I would get the left arm numbness, my face would tingle, I would get really bad headaches, I would feel dizzy and sick, and I just felt really weak quite a lot of the time, very fatigued. So I was backwards and forwards to the GP for years and years. I was told that I had low iron deficiency and I was given iron supplements. Then I would go back, 6-7 months after taking the iron tablets, and I was told that I had panic attacks, anxiety attacks, and I'm just not an anxious person whatsoever. So it was really hard for me to believe this. I knew deep down that there was something not right with me. It was just a feeling that I had. I couldn't explain it to anybody. I just knew that there was something not right. So I would go backwards and forwards constantly, and they were just saying the same thing time and time again. I was rushed into hospital with a heart rate of 230 beats per minute. The paramedic couldn't understand why my heart rate was so high and why my blood pressure was so low. He couldn't believe that it had never been picked up before, and I'd said, I've been to see a cardiologist, I've been to see various GPs. Nobody at all had picked this up. I was taken into hospital, I was admitted, and for 8 to 9 hours, the lowest that they could get my blood pressure, the lowest that could get my pulse rate down to was I think it was 157 beats per minute, so it was still quite high. In the end, I was told that I was having an anxiety attack and that I just had to go home and rest. I knew that this was not normal. I knew that it wasn't right for a 26-year-old girl to be backwards and forwards to the GP, so I thought that I would take matters into my own hands. I went onto Google, which you should never really do, especially when it comes to heart and things like that. It just says get to the emergency room. But anyway, I did it, and every time I was writing my symptoms into Google, it was throwing back this POTS syndrome. So I thought, right, I need to do some more investigating into this. So I went onto the POTS UK website, and there was a list of all of the different symptoms, what to show your GP, how it could be worked out with a Poolman's test with a blood pressure monitor. So I thought to myself, right, I'll go and get a blood pressure monitor. I did that, and every single time that I was doing a sudden movement, if I was standing up, my blood pressure would just drop. Usually around about 88 over 54 it would drop to, which is quite low, and my pulse rate would be around about the 150 mark. So I took that along with all my different readings, and I showed the GP all of the different things that are on the POTS UK website. She did the Poolman's test quite a few times, and she was actually sort of shocked a little bit that I'd given myself this diagnosis. Anyway, she referred me to Professor Newton, which was on the POTS UK website at Newcastle RVI. That lady has been a complete godsend to me after years and years of being so poorly and having all of these horrible symptoms. I went along there, I was referred within 6-7 weeks, and I was put on the tilt table test. As soon as Professor Newton came into the room, after being on it for 10 minutes, she told me just, to get up, and she knocked the system off completely. She'd seen everything that she needed to see, and that's when I got the diagnosis of POTS syndrome. It was such a relief to get a diagnosis after having such a hard time. It's just a huge a weight lifted off my shoulders, knowing that there is something and that it's not all in my head, which I was told time and time again, you know, you're having an anxiety attack, it's a panic, you're worrying, you're stressed. And I'm really just not a stressed out person at all. It was actually stressing me out having these symptoms and not having a diagnosis. So Professor Newton, a complete godsend. She put me on a high sodium diet, so I was increasing salt intake, loads and loads of fluid. Gatorade is my best friend now, and you know, with her help and just knowing that I've got something and knowing that there's other people out there that suffer the same as me, it's a massive relief. So I'm so thankful to everybody that's sort of in the groups and, you know, people that I can chat to. It's amazing. I find that the hardest thing having POTS is actually the isolation of it, because there's not many people that know about POTS syndrome at all, other than those that are obviously affected by it. People look at you and they think, well, you look fine, you can't be poorly, you know, you look okay, you look well. But deep down you feel absolutely rubbish, your heart's racing, you feel just like utter crap. So that's the hardest part for me. It's a bit of a lonely place to be in, but all of us Potsies have got to sort of stick together. That's my little story in brief. I will be posting regular videos, but I just thought I would keep this one short and sweet. Anyway, I hope that you're all alright, and I will speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye.